Welcome everyone. Jumping into some cool stuff I was just finding. I saw this question on Reddit. It said, by that person, if anyone. Sorry, I just don't want to. I feel bad showing people's things, but this is what drew my attention. So I wanted to learn more about Uinta Mountains. Uinta. Okay. About the Uinta Mountains, but I'm not a geologist, so I just searched Google. I found a government report from 1969, and basically saying, is there any new information on this? And I just did a quick scholar search, Uinta Mountains geology, and I found it pretty interesting. The geology, like there's glacial, 2005, but like on the geology, 1871. The geological story, 1969. So they are right. There does seem to be a lack of new geological studies of the region, which is kind of interesting. This is the closest thing to geology, like not glacial focused geology that I could find is 2007. But this one says it's C, zircons with each representative of the Paleozoic. So basically, they're saying the materials of these mountains. Let's check out the map real quick. Let's get into, pardon me, the details of just where we're talking about. So I don't know where this is, so I just looked. I mean, I know where, like, I've looked at it. It's not like I haven't looked at it. I just haven't known its name. Like, I don't know this thing's name. I don't know this place. But I know the place. Like, visually, I've observed it from at least like indirectly. I haven't focused on them, so I don't know their names. But this is interesting. It's basically this length, I guess, here. So that's what this image is kind of showing. Is maybe not so much down here, but the actual mountains. Okay, so that's where we're at, is here. So just to get our bearings, I just immediately do what of course, it's in the United States, where there's a current going down this way. So there's a current flowing this way, generally across this region where it's at. There's a second current flowing up this way, across this region where it's at. And then there's the node of the Bighorn Mountains over here that then has circles around it, eyeball type shapes. And then there's the Yellowstone node here. I believe it's here is where it's centered on, which then has its own ring structure that also has is exactly along this line that goes up here and down this way, down through here, through here, through here. So maybe even all the way back here. I don't know. I thought it started more here, like here. But maybe it did just to start like here, because essentially the Western Pacific was there. Oh. What am I looking for? Animations. relative positions of Laurentia and Mid-Pacific. So I guess I do draw it actually out here. I do have it out there, but then the curvature of the Western Pacific actually goes more like this. Like it doesn't. I cut off this segment, and just really maintain these segments. But I guess these kind of are underlain maybe by a degree of material that was here that then just has new material atop it, so it's kind of hidden, but essentially was like these stretches off of the back of the dragon. So anyway, there's a current going across generally this way. And another current going from here, this width, essentially flowing like a river this way underneath the crust, which is through Russia and then through China and then out through Taiwan, through the Mariana Trench as a width of the Mariana Trench. And then flowing into this current, but then also like branching upward this way and downward this way, and in some way, and also branching up this way, like going atop it in the same way as this one opens. This one opens, goes down this way, essentially like here and here kind of thing, flowing more this way, and goes around it, atop it, I guess. Atop it, but around it. So that it was essentially flowing not just through this general region, probably around, like we can actually go just from here, kind of across here to these lines, maybe through here. So it's probably in between these, but maybe down to this one at the most. So probably in this region that, and maybe that's probably the Baja BC, like maybe even this whole shape is related to it. Okay. I know it's a lot of pre-information, but it's relevant because there's currents flowing that are in this region. So let's get our bearings on from here. Why is it not letting me do that now? Let's just go to maps. I don't know. I don't know why it's not letting me do that now. I just like Google Earth. I can go in 3 dimensions. It just seems to not function as well for me because I'm not that competent, I guess. 30 or 40.7 and then 111.2. Which fortunately I've already looked into. 40.7, 111.2 is basically right around here. So they start around here and go through around, let's say, here. That's probably a good 40.8, 109.0. 109.0, 40.8. So basically, this mountain chain goes through this distance. Underneath it, this is what's going on underneath it, a magnetic anomaly. That is a high intensity where the pink is and a low intensity where the blue is. So it's like a place where current flowed. Like this is a mound that current pushed into and compressed to be more dense and meet more of a magnetic anomaly, whereas the places where the current flowed, it left behind relative voids that are just lower intensity magnetically to basically flow like a river in all instances and produce the outcome, and then it stopped, relatively speaking, and stabilized. So it's stable. It's still doing it. It's just stable. That's related to earthquakes. It's still doing it and other things, but it's just become more stable. So it's not like actively causing the earth to expand. It basically stopped expanding. Okay, so here's the Uinta Mountains in this distance, and maybe we can even get a top and bottom, like say up here, like this location looks like maybe like a good spot to go from 41 and 110.1. Just see how closely it like abuts. So 41 is here. 110.1, I think it was. Basically along here. So it goes into this region, but up to it. If you think about like a tube, so I kind of envision like these things where there's literally a current flow that then produces mounds around it, and then produces like a layer, but in that instance it produces more of like an arc, and the arc itself is a mountain belt that then below it is actually this like channel of lower density where current flowed and just bulged out the region to create mountains. Like pushing up and probably also causing exchange with water that was flowing at the time. Glaciation. This looks like a spine of a something. Something with a tail. Some kind of something over here. Looks like a penis. We're all thinking it. Gotta say it if we're all thinking it. Sorry. Pardon the interruption. Okay, let's carry on now. So the next thing I noticed is this other feature down here. So I was like, okay, here's this thing. So again, maybe we can do like this. And then do like, I don't know. It's beautiful, I know. Okay. Almost, almost. I wonder if there's a way to actually do that, just like boom, boom. It's not actually even, but that's okay. So, we've got this stretch was right here, so noticeably something important, seemingly, is just like here, the Bighorn Mountain. This here, for reference, is, I believe, right here. Oh my god, I took the Google Earth one. I took the Google Earth one. No. People, like, he's gonna have to get to Google Maps, isn't he? What a fool. This dude's a fool. Anyway, so here to here was here to basically along here. Noticeably, there's this thing, which seems to be, maybe that's before I go up to Bighorn. I haven't forgotten you, Bighorn. Let's just real quick see if that's anywhere near here. Point 4 is there. 0.7. So it's past it, past this thing. I was wondering if that thing kind of played into this. Like redistributed the current outward away from it so that the mountain chain kind of stopped getting focused. And then it spread out the current into this like large basin so it didn't push up mountains around that region. Although it did produce this seemingly... I never noticed that. Oh my god. There's a little puppy in the background. Oh, hey little puppy. Big mama fox coyote hybrid. That's gone through some toxic radioactive spill, maybe, I don't know. A little offspring baby hanging out over here. Not as pronounced. Maybe here. Maybe it's facing this way. Like here's an eyeball, here's an ear, here's an ear. Going more this way with the nose here. One of like there, maybe. Sniffing. It's just sniffing something. Sniffing the booty of this one, probably based on the angle. Alright, enough of the childish jokes. Pardon me, guys. Okay, so this thing is going. There's a circle here that's related seemingly to this one. So if we go up here again, now that I can do this, here, notice real quick. There's like a kind of circle thing with a kind of circle thing around it that then kind of has this energetic tap into it from Yellowstone or across here, like kind of thing, where it almost overlays. I feel like it's a terminal that was overlaid. So let's say 44.57, 107.5. Let's see. There it is. So that's Bighorn Mountain. This thing is right here, right under this region. And then it has this little tail, I guess, that maybe goes out this way. Maybe towards... I thought I just saw like a cross. Here? I don't know. Anyway. But so there's that here with the rings, and then again, Yellowstone. So let's just go to like here, I guess. 44.4, 110.6. One 10.6, 44.4. So basically here, which then has a ring there, and like more rings kind of related to it, generally speaking, that are again kind of squished rings, like eyeball shaped, where Yellowstone and Bighorn Mountain were like two energetic, positive, negative. One was dense and like composed of compressed material like a nucleus, and the other was subtle and composed of just magma, like a lot of hot fluid material that then behave like a negative positive yin yang with the Bighorn Mountain. And so while that's going on over here, here's Uinta Mountain region, which is just below this definitely circular feature that's generally here. Maybe squished a bit down here too, like a long eyeball, like here, like this whole thing. Just as a feature that repeatedly happens, probably related to that, this is going through Yellowstone, through Bighorn, to some general maximum distance over here that then is almost like this space that the system that's essentially forming more so here, that then has like a spiral flow in on it, maybe. So maybe this current actually a lot in some way went up here. Let's find the center of this. 110.6, 41.46. My guess was it's somewhere up here. 41 point. Still a bit lower. That's good. Okay, so it's centered right there. Around this region. Let's look at this more. So it's centered around here. Whatever that structure was above it. Maybe related to this. I don't know. Whoa. Whoa, dude. What? What? How cool is that? That looks like an alien language. Shoot. Shoot. Is that people? This is people here. That's not people doing that, is it? Please tell me that's not us. We didn't do that. We did not do that. No. That's nature doing that. Or whatever. We did some of it, certainly. Looks like we're finding stuff here. So I guess there's oil here. That's my guess. So whatever current flowed, I guess, brought oil in here. How cool is it, though? What is happening? It's so patchy with just, like, chemistry or something looking things. I don't know what to make of it. Okay. Okay, so Garden City, where's Bear Lake? Let's see, 41 point, or 42. Point 3. Maybe related to this little, like, nook that seems to be going in there. Like the current went this way and a little bit off this way around the kind of, or even, I don't know, yeah, something of that nature. Where like this structure was involved in this shape of this. This is not man-made, right? It looks like it could be. Oh yeah, there's a dam. Oh. Okay, so even if there is a dam, basically, it looks like it would, at best, it would still just reveal, like, it doesn't look like they shaped the land like that. It would reveal some type of process that was present that shaped the terrain like that. It just reminds me of this. Which points back to Lake Titicaca, and seems like there was some kind of energy going this way, or like generally through, under, and through, that then led to propagation on the surface of these, like this feature elongates here, really long one here. This one having this type of thing going on. Whoa. Brings us back to Bear Lake. Which was there. There it is. Definitely looks a lot like it. Like a current went down this way. Basically down here, hit the wall, and just went down this way. Physically turning along the boundary of Laurentia. It's going like down this way, so turning down maybe here through here, like this length. Which is part probably of this snake, of the snakes on a plane episode that I talk about, the snakes in this region that are like all in like the currents that form snake shapes. So there's a snake body that goes here, the mouth here, an eyeball in the Salt Lake City region, but also another one kind of that's just repeatedly too, where there's like an eyeball back here, but generally having like a top of its head here with then perpendicular energy propagation here especially, but like a hand of God motion out of it, like through this way a hand of God emerges where the thumb is here, a finger is here, there's even one kind of here that branches out this way. Like this, doing this thing. Having specific energy places where there's like this void region that has a yin-yang structure here, as well as a yin-yang structure like overall. So then if we keep going though in this general region, we can kind of just look around. This one here, the Uinta Mountains, helps us get a bearing on that this segment here pretty much starts here, like right here. Up to Yellowstone, which is here-ish, somewhere like there. And then it goes this way from Yellowstone, which is this way, generally speaking, because that's where the current's flowing, is down this way. Hitting a wall, where that wall is really another current, where then I guess the boundary of these two currents coming together, like this current came across, produced a first boundary that was over here, all the way over here, from this first current, that then went down kind of across this way, I guess, generally speaking. It's almost like a glove to the fist of the current. And then the current over here like got into the boundary and flowed in, and then it created a new interface. But the new interface, because these two currents were colliding, I guess wasn't able to form like a stable boundary, so instead it formed an actual stable nucleus and a stable counter nucleus of the Yellowstone Bighorn Mountain, which doesn't just happen here. Another example of that is in Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea. Mauna Loa is very fluid. Mauna Kea is very dense, solid, like is much more like Bighorn Mountain equivalent, where one of these is like a neutron and one of these is like a proton. And then the magma itself is like the electron. I know. It sounds ridiculous in some ways, but that's how it is neutrons are like stable, dense systems that have been compacted by currents, like, because of the circumstances of the currents, I guess, and created nuclei. And then the protons are spaces where currents flow that don't have the nuclei or the neutron dense particle, but instead they have like a region for current to flow, and then that current flowing provides like a stability. And then they energetically connect in ways where they're like bonded to balance. Here across the continents there's energetic bonds like this all the way across to bond them. So that's going on in this region. Here, it's almost like a first boundary, and then we can, the stuff that like gets past the boundary just keeps going. Here's Bighorn Mountain again, which is here. So it gets through Yellowstone this way into this region, where it then runs into basically this pile of material. So it does the only thing it can do is, I guess, flow either atop or below, depending. Either way, it flows in a way that uplifts. And the reason I say below is like it's almost like it might be like a mirror surface where this is like the dense components are like up against the crust, and then the current flows on the crust, but then like preferentially it flows like below. When it fills downward, the current that's flowing. So hilarious. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so it flows over this way. Let's find maybe here, let's say, to kind of where it starts to get all bumpy. It's 41.1, 106.9. Pretty much right at where this starts to get bumpy. At that kind of angle too. So if we go down here, let's say 39.2, 109.8. 9.8, 39.2. Around there. Which is interesting. There's this like structure that's blocking current from flowing here that kind of looks related to this region also. Then the current goes down this way, so if we kind of looked at like here, 38.32, 112, 38.32, 112.4. Yeah. It's generally, so I guess it's bending, like in that arc back this way, at like its broadest bend. It's bending back. And then down here, let's see, let's find like here. 33.62, 110.6. Let's just say maybe it's along this, so like here. 110.6. 33.32 or 6.6. 110, so it's really back here. Around there. So basically the boundary of this stuff is the boundary of this. So if it's like going, pushing up the crust, I mean, I guess it makes sense that it would be where there's some like some surface roughness of dense mounds to like provide support structures, but not so much to block the current, that there would be regions like that. I was just thinking maybe around here might be a little less pronounced where I was looking. I don't know. Let's see if we can pinpoint this one. 37 point, so let's go. Get the labels off. So this goes this way, generally speaking. Over here. Now let's see over here. Maybe start down here. 32.82. 105.6. .7. Just around there. Okay, so basically it goes to here, along this length, here, so kind of arcing, I guess, here, arcing, which makes sense, it's arcing. Mind you, this region, I'm fairly certain is highly related to what's going on here. I mean, where this, here, this arc, like this arc maybe is forming underneath. This, I thought it was South America though. That doesn't really make sense. It's hard to say what is going on with this area. I've concluded it was under South America, I think. That seemed pretty solidly the case, where this is more so up here. And then down this way. But this really looks like it, I don't know. And then having this, like having all the features it has here, it almost makes me think of like overlapping layers that then like formed where certain levels of the process are in different places. Like it was like almost a ring with this big mound of layers that spread apart, but then the rest of it, I don't know. It just seems like this shows parts of the process. This shows parts of the process. But then this shows parts of the process. Like, that doesn't... I guess this just is South America. Maybe this is more so... there. That doesn't even make sense, though. Because this is really here. So that's more so going on here. Although maybe it's turning, something to do with like it turning and things that are I'm not picking up on. Anyway, let's keep going with the North American region. So that boundary basically goes down to here. I think it was to there. Pretty much. And then over this way, let's go to like here. 37.06. 104. Oops. 104.5. Pretty much here. So in this region, I guess somewhat, maybe the way it bends out a little more so than over here, I don't know, is related to this also up here, maybe. I don't know. But generally speaking, that's there. So this like channel of this thing is definitely related to like a jet that was flowing this way. So maybe this jet and this jet that was here that was actually flowing this way. So that's right. It's been a while. I've really strongly placed this thing to a point where it definitely wasn't physically atop it, but it was under South America, and this beam was specifically going through here, shoving material up the coast to then be deposited here as the Baja BC material, and branching off and having these things. So maybe it branched off like this way and physically came up and counter energetically interacted with the Bighorn Mountain system. I don't know if that's I don't know. Or it just fed up that way, like induced it. Induced the Bighorn Mountain, Yellowstone by essentially by this jet that just was focused up that way, combined with the other currents, just fueling it. Something. Okay, so let's keep going. So there's a current going that way, though. One or the other way, I'm not sure exactly, because there's definitely one going this way that then goes probably to specifically about this boundary of that was then Bighorn Mountain, and then down at like a 120-ish degree angle. I don't know. Just thinking something of that nature. Like it hits from a certain amount of resistance that it just deflects generally off and goes straight down, generally this way. So it's probably going down this way, is my guess. And then even like hitting resistance and producing these dupe. It's almost like it bends off this way, wraps around here. So then maybe even wraps around here. I don't. Then there's currents that just kind of like thinner currents that get through and then fan out, it seems. And these go across. Just pretty much here. Go across into this region. So currents kind of go up in here and then go up this way. And then they hit a resistance over here and continue this way. Fan off this way, I guess. And these are just like two interacting currents producing a interlacing structure that supports the Earth's crust and is the oceanic crust, really. Like that's probably what's going on, is like an interlacing of the fingers, so to speak. Okay, that's all I got for now. I'll be back. See y'all later.